Welcome back to another squirrely guide video, and today we're going to talk about what banners a F2P player should pull on. This was a request from Mr. Noxilus on my Discord. If you guys haven't join that if you want to ask me questions or request guides. So I decided to do this video today to help you F2P players out. So as always, my guide videos are broken down into topics so you could skip to the section you're interested in. So topic number 1 will be general rules and limited heroes. Topic number 2 will be fire heroes. Topic number 3 will be water heroes. Topic number 4 will be grass heroes. And topic number 5 will be closing statements. Let's get started. Topic number 1, general rules and limited heroes. So I want to cover some quick basic things for F2P players out there before we get started. Now, if you're an F2P player, your resources are a little bit more limited than some of the crazy whales out there spending thousands of dollars. So there are some basic rules you have to follow. Number 1, always save bookmarks enough to pity the limited heroes. If you're really strapped, then go ahead, go on like Reddit or whatever and get other people's opinions on it. But in general, you want every single limited hero, and if you don't have enough bookmarks, you should be skipping all the other banners. That's my best advice. Never do Covenant summons. Now, I know there's a lot of you out there who are going to be like, but I got like 82 ML5s from Covenant summons. That's stupid advice. Dude, look at the rates. It's 0.15 to get any ML5, and even less, like if you have a specific ML5 in mind, the chance of you getting that specific hero is 0.00789%. You might as well buy a lottery ticket. So do not do Covenant summons. You can still get ML5s from your free daily one. Avoid them like the plague because you're gonna need your bookmarks to summon on the limited banners and the banners for the heroes that you actually need to progress your account. If you haven't watched my progression video, my 10 tips to progress fast, I suggest you watch that one as well. So those are the general rules. Always prioritize limited heroes, never do Covenant summons, and save your bookmarks. And if you follow those rules and you're playing the game, always using all your energy, etc., you should always have enough bookmarks to pity the limited heroes and the occasional banner as well. So with that out of the way, the other thing I wanted to talk about is this video is going to cover heroes that I think are kind of mandatory for everyone in the sense that they're leaders in content and they have wide use case applicability. They're great in PvE and PvP. Them not being on this list doesn't mean that they're a bad hero, because I know people are going to say things like, oh, well, this XYZ hero is so good, you just don't know how to use them. No, the purpose of this video is not to say other heroes are bad. The purpose of this video is to say that these heroes are so good and so game-changing that they make your progression in all types of content, PvE or PvP, much easier. There are lots of heroes that are great in their own niches, but in general, I believe these are the heroes that will really elevate your play quickly and that you absolutely should have them in your kit regardless of your playstyle. So let's get started with the heroes. So with that intro out of the way, topic number 2, let's talk about fire heroes. So out of the fire heroes, I think for F2P players, when the banners come up, you should skip them all unless you're loaded with bookmarks, except for these 3. So let's start off with Kayron. Kayron is a beast. A lot of people love him in PvP. He's an extremely strong anti-cleave hero. You can even use him as a cleaver yourself. In PvE, he's also quite strong. I use him in Hellraid occasionally, and he actually was my most dedicated dog walker for a while before I got Arbiter Vildred, because what you do is you turn his skills off, you put him on immunity set, and then his S1 has a fast animation and it's AoE, so he was actually a very efficient dog walker. So he's quite strong in PvE, even in the expeditions. He's probably best in slot for the green boss. And in PvP, he's an absolute terrorist. He's like a fire Arbiter Vildred in a way because of the way his immortality works. So I'd say If you're really broke, sure, feel free to pass on him, but in general, he's so strong in PvP, and he's perfectly viable in PvE as well, that I think he's an absolute recommended pull, even for F2P players. Number 2 is Lilius. Lilius is another hero that's really strong in PvE and PvP. I use her on my Golem 13 auto team. Her kit is so overloaded. Her S1 guarantees a dual attack. I mean, it's a random ally, but it's still really strong, and especially in Guild Wars, really dangerous if you pair her with 2 DPS because she's always going to bring someone powerful. Her S2 is a 2-turn provoke, and it doesn't have elemental disadvantage, so it works on water units, and you could soul burn it to ignore effect resistance. Very powerful move. And her S3 is absolutely overloaded. A full cleanse for your whole team. 25% decreased combat readiness for the enemy. Pushes her by 50%, so she can either cleanse and then attack right away or provoke someone. She's another hero that's really strong in both PvE and PvP. She's very meta in PvP. Absolutely stacked hero. A lot of people call her like a fire ML5 because she's so good. You absolutely should have her in your kit. Now again, if you're really broke, you can skip out on her, and Adventurer Raz is a somewhat viable substitute, although he lacks the cleansing part of the kit. But with Adventurer Raz out, he's probably like a budget option, but still they're quite different in the sense that Lilius, the main part of her kit is that full cleanse, so you're still going to really want her even if you have a Raz build. Now, the last one, the last fire hero you absolutely cannot skip, and this one, in my opinion, is a must-have for everybody, and it should be no surprise what that hero is. It's Tamarin. So Tamarin in PvP used to be god tier, and honestly, Tamsaria cleaves are still used occasionally, even at the high end, although it's fallen off because, it's not always the most consistent, especially if like Asaria gets resisted on her Deathbreak or something, but still a very viable offensive composition. Defense is useless. But the thing about Tamarin is she trivializes all the PvE content in the game. If you think of any PvE content in the game and you're like, oh, what should I bring to this? It's hilarious because the answer is almost always Tamarin. So if you're an F2P player and you haven't cleared all the PvE content yet, the only thing you might need is Tamarin. You're gonna, like, if you watch Abyss guide videos or Hellraid guide videos, all of the guide videos basically just say, just bring Tamarin and auto it. She's so good. Her S3 is ridiculous. It dispels all debuffs on your team, recovers her to max health, gives your team a heal, and then she can CR push your entire team by up to 50% with Molas. I don't even Mola mine, it's still good, and gives them increased attack. Her S1 becomes an AoE that guarantees a dual attack from the hero with the highest attack, and dispels. And remember, dispelling becomes very important in later Abyss floors and Hellraid floors. Her kit is absurd, so you need this hero as an F2P player. Like, unless you've already cleared all the PvE content in the game without her, but if you haven't, this is the hero that's going to change all that. Tamarin will make all of that content easy mode, and she doesn't even need great gear. I have her on like 67 pieces and stuff. She doesn't need gear at all to do her job. So absolutely redonkulous hero. She single-handedly will carry you through all the PvE content in the game and get you to the end game so that you could start competing with high-end players out there. So that's it for fire heroes. I mean, all these other heroes, many of them are very good. Like Charlotte is very good. Cecilia's very popular top-end legend. Even Lytica, it shows up a lot. And Melissa is used occasionally as well. Again, this is not about these heroes being bad. I just don't think they're mandatory if you're bookmark starved. So now let's move on to the next topic. Topic number 3, water heroes. So again, Luna and Diane don't count because they're limited heroes. Neither does Dizzy or Seaside Bellona. All the limiteds are water eventually. There's 5 water limiteds. So in terms of water heroes, after looking at the 5 stars, the only one I think is a must pull is Mr. Crow. Crow is he's pretty decent in PvE, but in PvP, he's god tier. He's used at the highest levels. In RTA, he's a very common first pick. And he is just so good that I think you can't afford to miss out on him, especially if you're like a mid-game player and you're in a guild and you're struggling in Guild Wars. Once you get Crow, Guild Wars, you can just easy mode it because you can just bring 2 Soul Weavers and Crow and just slowly S3 everything to death. Even at high-end PvP, people do that just to safely cheese defenses. He is so good. He's like a budget Dark Corvus in a way, although, they're very different. Crow also brings a defense buff. He is just an exceptionally powerful hero. In PvE, I don't really use him in PvE very much except for the Fire Expedition boss because he's my only built Water Knight. But I'm sure you can use him in PvE as well, but usually PvE is about killing things quickly with DPS, so he's not that important. But PvP, definitely a must-have, a must-have, so absolutely you need to pull for Crow. Everything else on this list, I love Tywin. Wow, there's not that many water 5-stars, actually. I love Tywin. If you really want to build a fast auto Wyvern 13 team, you can theoretically take Sigrid, and she's pretty good against Arbiter Vildred as well. But honestly, those are both niche use cases, so I would say if you're starved for bookmarks as an F2P player, you could skip them. But I would say Tywin and Sigrid are close seconds. But the only mandatory one to me is Mr. Crow. Let's move on. Alright, topic number 4, Grass Heroes. Some of these are quite powerful, but I've only picked 3. So, we'll go from, worst to first, I guess, although none of these are bad. But number 3, I put Alencia. Now, this is kind of a dicey option because the real thing about Alencia is if you are interested in RTA, I believe she is a must-have. If you aren't interested in RTA, she's an easy skip because she's not mandatory in arena offense or arena defense by any means. But in RTA, she's probably easily a top 10 hero, if not top 5 hero for RTA. Her kit is very well suited for RTA with the team-wide defense buff and the Dispel, because there's a lot of stalling in high-end RTA. She is exceptionally powerful, but again, if you don't care about RTA, just skip her. Otherwise, I think she's a must-have. Number 2 is Mr. Charles. Now, Mr. Charles is a terrorist because he always has that horrifying RNG element when you put him on Counterset and Elbrus. I'd say at least 25% of my losses in Guild Wars are to Mr. Charles, with the other 75% being Greater Alexa's Arbiter procs. But he hits extremely hard. He's great on defense. On offense, he's sometimes really good, sometimes really terrible. It depends on RNG again, because there are times I bring him on offense and he goes ballistic and just Elbrises everyone in the face and solos an entire team. And other times he just sleeps and sits there and does absolutely nothing. So I don't like using him that much on offense anymore because of that RNG element. But no one can deny that he's a terrorist. And if you watch other Epic 7 YouTube videos, he's basically a meme because the tens of thousands of Epic 7 players have had their posture corrected by Charles. So yeah, he's a very, very solid hero. Number 1 is this horrible asshole that I wish was never put into the game. But if you're only a PvE player, feel free to skip. You could actually skip all 3 of these heroes. If you're going to do PvP, Basar needs to be a part of your kit. I remember I hit Legend like 2 months into playing the game, and I just cheesed everything with Basar, a Basar Tywin cleave. He's just really broken. His S3 is totally busted. Now with Holiday Yafine out, she kind of hard counters Basar, but still, that means they have to bring an entire hero just to counter Basar, and then he'll just S2 and blind your entire team, or Abyssal stun them. Like, he's still really, really annoying. So, if you have any interest in PvP, you should have an interest in Basar, because I know you've went up against him. I know he's a huge asshole with his little stupid tornado on his fingertips. He's a dick, and he belongs in your kit if you have any interest in PvP whatsoever. Honorable mentions, I mean, honestly, there's so many honorable mentions. Like, Vildred's a good dog walker. Yafine is very good in, like, Guild Wars and even Arena. Like, she's probably one of the strongest one-shotters in the game. Isseria is core for like Tam Saria comps. Lilibet's great against Arbiter Vildred, but again, Rowana hard counters SSB. But again, these are all niche uses. We're not talking about niche heroes. So I think that about covers my top 3 for grass units. Alencia 3rd, Charles 2nd, Basar 1st. If you're only interested in PvE, just skip them all. But for PvP, I think all 3 of those are core heroes. Alright, so that covers all the heroes. Let's move on to closing statements. Alright, so topic 5, final topic, closing statements. So we covered my list of the handful of heroes that I think are must-haves for everybody. Especially for F2P players who are resource starved, I really think those are the heroes that you should pull on non-limited banners. Obviously, if new heroes come out and public perception is that they're going to be extremely strong, you could try pulling for those as well. But I strongly recommend that you don't buy into the hype of every single hero, and I strongly suggest that you take all the YouTube showcases out there with a grain of salt, because there's a lot of YouTubers out there who will immediately put up a showcase where they put godly gear into a really niche comp onto a new hero and say like, oh yeah, this guy's amazing, but it's really not. They cherry pick their matches, they have much better gear than the opponents. You have to really take that for a grain of salt. So anyways, I think those are the heroes that you really want to have. Obviously, if you're one of those players who's playing for the artwork and you just love certain heroes, feel free to pull on them. But this video is for the people who are really interested in progressing quickly in both PvE and PvP, and I think these heroes will really help you get there. So anyways, if you have any questions or comments or disagreements, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and of course, let me know what guides you want in the future. Thanks for watching. Till next time.